Hello, friends and followers and prospective eBay buyers. Here's the station I've been working on selling. And why am I selling it? Well, I promised significant others in my life that I would downsize the ham radio equipment. And so that's the reason for this stuff getting sold. And I like to fix things, I guess, and sell them. And it's a challenge fixing things, but I really like this stuff because it is big and it is traditional, and I love the big silver mic. Anyway, my ham radio station now consists of these two are my main radios, and maybe not for long. And I have the antenna tuner here, Dentron amplifier, and over there is the very sick number 2 Paragon, which isn't working too well. It has phase lock loop problems. Anyway, so yeah, I promised some others that this stuff would be gone. So anyway, here's what it's like to use it. The receiver is a National NC300. I had an NC303 receiver, and that got sent to a gentleman in Escondido, which I think he likes it. So at any rate, I take great pride in trying to restore these receivers, and this 300 is no slouch. So here's the 300 receiver. This is the RF gain control here. You turn it off and on with this control here. Crank up the RF gain. This is the volume control right here. And it's really quite a capable receiver. You can adjust your bandwidth here. And right now I'm on the medium bandwidth. This is about, I think, 8 kcs. This is probably about 3. That's probably about 500 cycles, and you can hear that. So this would be for CW here, sideband and AM. You can also listen to sideband on the wide setting, and it sounds fine, just there's more fidelity. It has an antenna trimmer, so for all bands you want to tweak that up. We're on 40 meters right now. As you can see from the scale, it's 40 meters. There's also a, there's also a noise limiter here. So if there's noise, you can click this on and then crank it up to get rid of noise. I get static sometimes from power lines, and it does a pretty good job with those. It has a tone control, and again, that's your bandwidth. The antenna trim, as we went over. The BFO injection or CW oscillator frequency, which is interesting enough for sound quality. And that's the volume control. Main tuning, of course, for the slide roll there. And this knob is for your mode, so you could be in AM mode there. Well, I can turn the volume up. Accessory mode to bring in audio from a jack in the back. AM, sideband, CW. And what CW does is it simply negates the RF amp, or negates the automatic volume control, so you're wide open. So it has a Q multiplier basically, and that's these two controls. That this Q multiplier has a few settings. You can run it off for the best fidelity, or you can increase it, and as you increase the Q multiplier's effectiveness, you can then tune it down here to notch out certain signals in your band pass. So that's how that works. I could try and find some sideband now in 40 meters. There's some.
They stretch, and they keep stretching for a while until they finally hold it firm.
Now you can open this up.
And I will.
It's open all the way.
One of my
Close it.
Old classical guitar books that I used several years ago.
And then you can adjust this for effective audio.
By, one of my guitar teachers.
I always find it's better when you take it away a bit.
He had a degree in fine arts from Oxford University, and I was in his intermediate classical guitar class.
That's pretty good.
5 of us in the class. And he went to Europe to make photocopies.
And if there was an interfering station, you could try to notch it out with this. That's good for CW.
Bring them back and then rewrite them in modern musical notation. And we would practice them in our class and work out the fingering for the...
and sometimes I use this to get rid of noise and just make it sound cleaner.
And then he would publish them in his book.
That sounds pretty clean like that.
It was pretty exciting to be able
Very
to
clear.
Hear music from several centuries ago.
And this is sideband.
No one had heard in several hundred years, so it was a nice class. I went to look him up.
Let's see what else we can hear on here.
He had passed away.
Nothing else. 140. Let's try 20 meters. Band switch. There's 20 meters. Antenna. Peek it. It's kind of dead. Nothing there. 15 meters. Peek it. Nothing there. This will also do CB band, so let's see if that's active. Here's there. No, right there. 26. Nothing going on. Anyway, so then what if you want to transmit? Well, transmitter's on. So if I want to transmit to, say, someone in 40 meters, I go to 40 meters here. Here's 40. And
Around 6. So I'm going to say 73 minutes.
Transmit to these guys.
I was able to make it in today.
Go to lower sideband. So the first thing I do with this thing is I peek up the transmitter and get on frequency. So AM's a good way for that. Put it on spot, and then you can crank it over to roughly where they are. They're around 7200. Right about there, say. Crank the volume up.
And happy grilling to you tonight. John here, KJ63BG. Before you go, I'll tell you, got a great signal here.
That's about it. And then you crank it onto lower sideband. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you want to see if you can hear yourself coming through here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. And get yourself so you sound good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's too high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. That's about right. And then you could transmit to these guys. So to tune this guy up to transmit, basically you can tune it with a spot. Basically, you could basically tune it for the best carrier. So go to spot, turn it up a bit, go back to AM, and peak this. Okay, back it off. Your spot drive. Peak this one, plate. That's it, you're good to go. So now, when you push the talk, they're gonna hear you. And on lower sideband, take your drive up all the way. And that's about it. Test 1, 2, test 1, 2. and they'll hear you. So that's how that works. And that's really all there is to it. This thing has a bunch of metering functions, of course. I never use them, but I just watch the plate. But you can look at your grid, tune it for grid, ALC, which I never use, and tune it for relative power out and high voltage. So that's your HV on your plate. I guess I could tune it for relative power. I never really do that, but let me go off frequency. So we're off their frequency there. Now we're off. And you can go to manual mode to tune it. So I could go like back to AM, take the drive down, because AM is the constant carrier, and go here to manual. And a lot of plate there, a lot of plate. Take the drive down a bit. And you can see we're putting some power out there a little bit. Then I could peak this for max power here. Yeah, there it goes. Peak the plate for max power. It was pretty much peaked anyway. So we're transmitting, and I'm only putting out 10 watts. If I crank the drive, you'll see it'll crank up. About 100 watts, 140. And that's AM mode. I think you get more out of CW. Let me see. There's CW mode there. About the same, but 100. Okay. Then, of course, once you go to lower sideband, you're going to be cranking it up entirely, and you can transmit with the mic. Test 1, 2. Lower sideband KB3W. Test lower sideband 1. Anyway, that's a tour of the transmitter. It's quite nice. And what else do we got here? You can put a crystal in here that goes inside the radio. Standby, of course. And all the different bands, 80 meters, 40, 20, 15, 10 meters low, 10 meters medium, 10 meters high. And that's really all there is to it. The tuning is quite nice and labeled. You can use Vox in this thing. I never use Vox, but it's got all the Vox stuff in case you're a Vox person. I guess Vox was a big thing back in the late 50s, early 60s. And that's my tour. So that's about it. All right, that's the entire station. You've gotten your tour. If you like it, buy it now. Okay? Thanks for watching, and have a great day. It works wonderfully, by the way. Take care.